It's a word I use a lot. Consider and contemplate. Contemplate the outcomes, potential outcomes of what I think and what I say and what I do. And if I like where that looks like it's going to go in my mind, then go in that direction, as opposed to deferring my life to the external. It's a very dangerous path.
Welcome to podcast number, I don't even know. Did we decide, am I going to change this from Pirate Life podcast to, I already got a name, man. I think I should. I don't know. I want it to go on, and I don't want it to be like, people all think eye patches and shit. I'm talking about pirate your life back, people. I'm talking about corporations and governments. They got a fucking oppressive regime that's just trying to push you around everywhere you can. You got to read labels. You can't trust the FDA. What are we doing out here? We got to pirate our lives back. We can't take their word for it. It is us against them, and the them is a faceless entity called corporations, and our government is just a shadow of those corporations. So please, everybody, wake up. Do I have to say Pirate Life Podcast? Maybe I could change that shit, because I think there's something that's better for the direction I'm going in. I don't know. Anyway, there's only a couple 100,000 people that listen anyway. I don't know about it all. But what I do know is that my guest today, Mark England, he's a fellow that I met through my other buddy that you guys might know from the Barbell Shrug podcast, named Mike Bledsoe. And Mike hooked me up with this real smart fella that is a go-getter, man. I try to get to the bottom of it all here. And, you know, he's started a thing called Procabulary. And Procabulary.org is where you can find out more about Mark. But, you know, kind of what it is reorganizing your language, like your self-talk. It's like kind of a self-coaching program from what I understand. And I've signed up for it. I'm going to go through the course, and I'll let you guys know more about what my stance is on, not what my stance is on it, but like how it's affected me. In Mark's words, my mission is to help people create more powerful, more fulfilled lives using the power of better words and stories. Procabulary is the language of getting things done. And that's in Mark's words. So you can learn more about it at procabulary.org. You can learn some of it on this podcast right now coming up. And I think it's a real interesting idea. I started thinking about changing the way that I spoke to myself in workouts and then when coaching. And as an athlete, I always talk shit to myself, like horrible, like, come on, bitch, da-da-da, all that stupid stuff. And I heard my friend Jason Kleepa talk about it. He's like, I just wouldn't coach myself that way. Or I wouldn't coach one of my athletes that way. So what am I doing talking to myself that way? Was the conversation in his head that he shared with me. And I just thought it was a fantastic way to look at it. I never thought about it. There's nothing that gets action done that's saying, come on, bitch. But there is, if you're like, lower your stance, or if you're coaching somebody with a barbell, like chest up or what, like there's simple things that you could coach yourself that would get the job done. And aren't we interested in more intelligent coaching? Anyway, I am. So I was honored to take part in this conversation. And I hope you guys check it out. I hope you dig it. And if you do, please hit up my iTunes and go ahead and rate me. And if we could get 5-star ratings on there and just pump it up, that'd be awesome, man. And if you could get some more exposure on it and retweet it and share it and all, I'd love that as well. And I hope you're appreciating the content. Let me know if you want more diversity in it, or if there's other people that you'd like to hear from. I would love your input in that. And as always, please, my main sponsors, steady. cavemancoffee.com. Please check us out. Big sales right now. It's the Christmas season, and holiday season's coming up. We got, from New Year's Eve to Galdarn Valentine's right around the corner. I mean, these holidays, they just stack up on me. I never knew until I got into business how many holiday sales there were, and I was like, oh my goodness, there's a lot of sales. And there's holidays all through the year. We even make up holidays for people we're not even really sure we like Christopher Columbus. It's weird. Anyway, kmancoffee.com. Please check us out. Please support us. And if you're in Chicago or Texas, you already know the story, man. The best fucking nightlife in the most vibrant community with the most positive folks you ever seen. Oodles of fun, Concrete Cowboy, and Clutch. And if you're in Houston or Dallas, or soon to be in Chicago, Clutch is off the hook. And we got Concrete Cowboys in Chicago, and in Houston, Austin, Frisco, Texas, Dallas, Texas. That's it, I guess. Anyway, we're getting busy. And I hope you guys have a safe new year. And love you all. And that's it. And thank you for listening to this goddamn podcast, whatever the name might be. All right. Stay tuned for Mark England.
The big Tait Fletcher.
Powerful Tait Fletcher.
Is a real alpha male.
Weightlifter.
He's a stuntman.
Movie star.
Robust, enthusiastic individual.
He's huge, by the way. He's like a monster person.
One of the sweetest guys I know.
He's bigger than life.
Actor.
Entrepreneur.
A fighter.
The jiu-jitsu technician.
He's also bald and he has all these tattoos. He's just a big fucking man.
A man, a myth, a legend.
Tait Fletcher.
Tait Fletcher.
Tait Fletcher.
What's up, Tait Fletcher, you bad motherfucker?
Tait Fletcher. Tait Fletcher is
Tait Fletcher.
Teddy bear motherfucking Fletcher, ladies and gentlemen.
That's Tait Fletcher, everybody.
The great Tait Fletcher. Tait the animal Fletcher. Tait the savage Fletcher. Always moving. There's no stillness with Tait Fletcher. You will find no dust.
Tait Fletcher's in the house, ladies and gentlemen. He just said the word erection.
Tait Fletcher.
Tait Fletcher's in the fucking house. Tait Fletcher!
Tait really blasts out some serious hardcore truth bombs, and I think you're really going to enjoy it.
Cool, man.
Does this need to be?
Right in here.
Hand? Okay.
Yeah, perfect. Or from there is great too. I just
I like the hand.
I go back. So
Nice.
yeah, man. So anyway, you talking about Mr. Bledsoe.
Yes,
What are you
Mr.
and Mike
Bledsoe.
up to?
We are doing a couple of workshops. One is next Sunday at his house in Encinitas.
Will this be a inaugural one?
It's the, yeah. It's
Cool.
the inaugural one. It's called Flow Stated. So it's about flow states. And what I specialize in is language, and the language of stress response and the language of relaxation response. It's one way to talk about it.
So everybody that's listening,
Yep.
flow states or like ecstasis or a lot of different things, but give a background on it for people that don't know about it.
Okay, I can speak about it from layman's terms because
Right.
that's me.
Yeah.
So we've
I mean,
all
the first time I'd heard of it really was when I read The Rise of Superman, and then it spoke to me and it gave me a glossary, I would say, or like a lexicon for a language like
Yes.
that I understood because I'd felt the thing, and so it gave words to emotions that I'd had that I thought were just circumstantial.
Yes.
And when I read that book, I go, oh my God, this is what I've been chasing. So
Yes.
anyway, yeah.
Yes, it's where a segment of the population is going from functional fitness to personal development, because everybody. I opened a couple of years of workshops with a question. Hey, everybody, I'm Mark. Thank you for coming. How do you all want to feel? And everybody could say that. They could identify how they wanted to feel in a matter of seconds. Okay, there are very few things that everybody can answer immediately.
Right.
Okay, and it's all pretty much the same answer. It's some semblance of good, great, and beyond.
Right.
And so, for you've been a professional athlete.
You know, it's weird. Nobody wants to feel dead.
Right?
That's never an answer.
No.
People want to die sometimes, but they don't want to feel that. Like, that's not. If they could feel that they could solve whatever the pain was and get over that, good, great, or beyond.
Yeah.
You know, like that's like it changes the view, kind of.
Big time. What they're talking about is a feeling of being comfortable in themselves. Okay? A lot of people in the professional development talk about gaining or building confidence. What that is, they're talking about being comfortable within their skin. And there's a place that we breathe when we're in that state or in a flow state. Okay, so you've been in a lot of martial arts competitions. Have you ever had the experience of quote unquote being in your head, and you just feel like a C-3PO, a robot?
Well, the first thing that I ever felt, the real kind of freedom that I would say that's what it was, and I'd had flavors of it and different things, was when I was in a stick fight with the Dog Brothers, and
Eric Naus,
and something had happened, and I'd fought Eric that day too.
This is something I wanted to talk to you about.
It was frightening, but
yes,
but like that.
I could only imagine.
But that feeling where moments are so critical, and that you need to be right there, or else there's a heavy consequence for not being there, and that was unconsciousness probably.
Wild.
And it was the first time I really got super distilled, potent juice of that kind of a feeling that happened. And then ever since then, I've been looking for that and a recreation of that, and how do you elongate that, and how do you get the most out of that. And so that whole conversation that you guys are having is fascinating to me.
Ourself included, us included. When an athlete is in their head, it's the opposite of being in the zone. When someone describes being in the zone, how do they talk about it? They talk about flow. They talk about not having to think. The technique or whatever they're doing, it moves through them, and they almost observe themselves.
Yeah.
And what I have,
oftentimes, like they're the controller and they're watching the game, and,
yes,
or something like that. Yeah.
Yes. What I've noticed is that there is a way to talk ourselves into our head. So I'm one of the co-founders of Procabulary, and it's a personal and professional development company that focuses exclusively on language and how it influences us, for better or for worse. I've been doing that full time for the past 10 years, coaching, teaching, presenting. And we have mapped out certain segments of the English language, one of them being conflict language. And conflict language, it's a way of people creating a stress response in them, in themselves, accidentally. Okay? And I say accidentally because that goes back to the question of, how do you want to feel? People don't want to feel stressed out. People don't want to feel disconnected. People don't want to feel uncomfortable in their skin.
Right. But the part of the feeling is like, it doesn't go before that, because don't most people, you go through life and you feel something like that's what's happening physically for you. But a lot of people may think that they're thinking that. Like there's not a separation between the thought and the feeling. You know what I mean? And so like, I mean, a lot of people feel like they know what's going on in the news or what all that means. But they just have a feeling because they feel like what side they're on, what team they're rooting for. Not because they've really thought about it very much, generally. You know what I mean? And so, like, even I think it takes higher thinking to get to where you're going.
Exactly. And that's to go off on a valuable side tangent. Most people's education about their language, Tait, comes down to 3 static things: spelling, grammar, and definitions, none of which address how our language influences us. And when I mean influences us, our language, it interacts with us on a metaphysical level. What I think and what I say, it influences my imagination. What I see, it influences how I feel, my energy, quote unquote, my physical body, and then also how and where I breathe. Okay, and that's where one of the things that Mike and I are bringing to the flow state conversation with these workshops. Okay, specifically showing people that there are ways to use language to tell ourselves a more accurate and empowering story, or have a better conversation with ourselves, about ourselves. And when we do that, we can, okay, so conflict language. I can
You're
give you
talking
an example.
about creating different small talk in your own head.
Yes.
Right? That inner critic.
The inner
Changing
critic.
the voice of that critic.
Yes, that is a skill set that anyone can learn to do.
Certainly.
And it's a highly beneficial thing to learn how to do. So if I'm going into, let's say, a CrossFit competition, and I keep focusing, like, I can't mess this up. I can't go in there and mess up these lifts, because if I do, then what are these people going to think? What is my language doing?
Mm-hmm.
It's forcing me to make worst case scenario pictures. That puts me in a stress response, and here's the big thing with flow states. Flow and breathing go hand in hand. And if I'm creating these micro stresses in my system, my breathing is going to get trapped in my upper chest. Okay? It's known as shallow breathing or labored breathing or coastal breathing. And if I know how to architect my inner critic in a certain way, I can breathe more down into my abdomen. And when I do that, I'm in a parasympathetic nervous system response, rest and digest, or feed and breed, as it's known, and much better things happen from that place. I'm much more likely to stay in the zone. I can hear my coaches. Yeah.
Right on.
So that's what we're going to do. Mike has got the things that he's going to pull from. He's got, obviously, you guys are very good friends.
He's got a lot of coaching.
Tremendous amount of experience talking to experts in the field, from Barbell Shrugged and just the people that he knows and know him. And our lane, our angle is language.
So do you guys, do you have a book? Do you have, it'll be seminars? What are you doing?
We're doing the seminar next Sunday at his place, and then we'll do another one. We've got a couple of gyms that will very likely host us in Southern California.
Right.
So we'll do one in January, and then this is going to be very fun. We've got a couple of people that are very influential and well connected in the European CrossFit scene that are going to host us. We're going to go on tour in Europe.
Cool, man.
It's either going to be 6 or 7 weeks.
Fun.
Yeah, super cool. Starting in Berlin, and Berlin, Switzerland, Latvia, and we're going to document this. We're going to bring a film crew with us, and it's going to be such a fun video blog. and Mike, he sent me very likely we'll do the I might mispronounce this. Forgive me if I do. Aleco, the barbell.
Oh, right.
The plates. They have a big place in Norway.
No idea.
Yes, it's in Scandinavia, and Mike is in contact with them. They know that he's coming, and that we're doing a series of presentations, and that they're going to host us.
Super.
So that's a super solid 7 weeks. He's going to finish off in Belgium. They have the biggest electronic dance festival over there. Yeah. So he's going to be over there with a couple of his friends.
He'll have the time of his life. That'll be great.
Yes. And that all kicks off. So the inaugural presentation is on Sunday, and you've obviously, you're a businessman. You've got an impressive list of businesses that
I would dare to say I was a businessman, but accidentally, I've
in
accidentally
my
had to get into business.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you know about collaboration and what happens when you break that plane of working together with someone. A lot of magical stuff happens. We'll use that word. So that's this Sunday. It's a big deal for us.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, I'm glad to hear about it. Where's it going to be?
Thank you.
In what city? How do people get a hold of?
Flowstated.com. We just put it up. It's a basic landing page. Mike's talking about what we're doing, and then there is our TED Talk below it, and people can sign up.
How'd you get hooked up with a TED Talk?
That's a good story.
Like, what brings a guy to that?
Well, you've got a lot more martial arts background than I do, and I had a little run back in the late '90s and early 2000s in amateur MMA and kickboxing over on the East Coast. And one of the girls that used to fight out of the gym that I trained at in Richmond ended up founding or co-founding TEDx RVA, TEDx Richmond, Virginia.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, and she's a very cool girl. Leah Freemouth, shout out to you. Hugs forever. And she watched the development of Procabulary, even before it was Procabulary. And our
So
words.
vocabulary, is there, like, do you have a book for that, or is there another, like, I haven't heard of this before.
Gotcha.
So how would I have come into contact with that, or who can it serve in that way?
Okay, gotcha. We do half of our business, Tait, in performance athletics. So CrossFit, functional fitness, and yoga. And then the other half in sales training and professional development, leadership development, developing the culture of businesses and organizations. And we've been in business for 3 years, my business partner and I. I've been doing this specific work as far as language training, we can call it that, for the past 10. And how would you have heard about us? Potentially, most likely, through Barbell Shrugged. They were the first. They showcased us to the CrossFit world. Mm-hmm. We did their show. We did Barbell Shrugged and then Barbell Business.
But so,
last
like,
January.
who would benefit from that the most? Like, who is
Gotcha.
your audience you're looking for?
We do. The reason that we're popular in performance athletics for the people that know us is because we very clearly, one of the reasons, we very clearly connect the dots between what we think and what we say and how well we breathe. And we've got language to describe that phenomenon in our language. So when you've heard these statements, everybody has. I have to get this off my chest. You've heard that, right?
Sure.
So let's look at the words. I have to get this off my chest. What's the this? Tension, tightness, pressure, and it's on my chest. Okay, so it goes back to the stress response. I'm stressing for whatever reason. There is a linguistic component to it, and my breathing is trapped in my upper chest. And then we clear the air. You've heard that? Of course, right?
Sure.
Clear what air? The air in the closet? Or the air in the tires of my car? No, the air in my chest, because it's stagnant, it's
I
stale.
always would think of it as the air between us.
Yes.
You know?
That's another thing
kind
too.
of-
And that goes into the
Mostly, I think what I've heard that as. Yeah.
you can cut it with a knife. You've heard that?
Of course.
Yes. So when I think about the air between us, I think about that. So when someone walks into a room and someone says something, everybody goes like this. Where's everybody breathing? In their upper chest. That's where that tension, that tightness comes from. Okay? And guess what?
So you guys tell people how not to breathe in their upper chest.
Yes. And we show people that there is an ongoing, there's an ongoing process that we're all engaged in. Okay? It's called thinking and speaking. And that we can create internal stress, we can create internal conflict if we use our words in a certain way. We can also create better connections, personally and professionally. We can have better conversations with ourselves.
For sure, it's all just self-development, though.
Yes.
Right? I mean, you have to be the seeker of that. It's like, I don't know that
Yes.
you can be led there. You have a course that you take people through?
Yes. And that's, the entire Barbell crew went through it before we did their show. And it added a lot of texture to the conversation.
It'd be cool if you could do something like that for 7th and 8th graders or something like.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? Like, you think of what dynamically that would change for the nation. You know, it would really, if you gave good fundamental training of basics of your body and how to direct your mind to be on your side the most, you know, like, that would be phenomenal. Like, if this takes off into a direction like that, that's nation changing.
That's exactly what it is. And that's very near and dear to our heart. I was a elementary school sports teacher before I got involved in the language game. And my business partner, he comes from a more of a corporate / sales training background. And so we've been in the education game, personal development game for a while now, and so you're absolutely right. People, we deliver a very specific type of education about oneself to seekers. Okay, and yes, we have an online training course that's built for people that are seekers. Because guess what?
Man.
Seekers they're busy doing many different things, right? We've made it. I can talk about the course a little bit later. It's fine.
Whatever you talk, as you want.
The TED Talk. So Leah, our words, what we think and what we say, it influences. It has there's a cause and effect reaction to it, and we knew a TED Talk was coming. And I'm born and raised Richmond, Virginia. I love that town, and I've exclusively, the only thing I ever talked about as far as doing a TEDx was TEDx RVA. We got the interview call last, I believe it was in March. We had three months to prepare, and it was a big deal for us, very big deal for us.
Cool, man.
Yeah, the most people I'd talked to, and so you're in movies, and that's a whole other thing. That's really cool, by the way. The most people I'd presented to was 400 people, and this was 1,800 in my hometown and the most prestigious place to
feel
event.
Different, like the energy of the whole place, like, because after a while it seems like if it's more than a couple people, that feels like a lot of people. Like, and when you're like 8, like, it's already a lot. That's a lot of folks to have their eyes on you.
Yes, it was, and I knew how I wanted to feel. So we can just tie this back into flow states.
Yeah.
I knew how I wanted to feel when I walked on stage, and that was free within myself to deliver a message that was, one, extremely close to my heart, and also one that it goes beyond believing, one that I know is super relevant. I've been talking to people about the cause and effect relationship that words have on us for 10 years, and for whatever reason, yes, I'm getting better. I've gotten better at having those conversations, and people are faster to say, you know what, that makes sense. That makes sense. And so, we did. We prepared very well for it, and I walked out on stage, and I was free within myself in such a way that I've given 448 professional presentations. Okay, and it was the highest. It was by far the one with the highest stakes, and it was the one that was the most fluid for me, the most free for me. I was so comfortable within myself, and that, there's factors involved, and I also talked myself into that position, into that place, into that state. And I used Procabulary to do that. So I was there talking about the philosophy that the TED Talk is a 9-minute summation of the philosophy of Procabulary. And the philosophy is that, let me state this first, that the current definition of identity, Tait, is the fact of being who or what a person is. Okay? And what we can easily prove is that our identity is an ongoing, fluid, flexible process. Okay, so I asked this in the TED Talk. Raise your hand if you see yourself differently than you did 20 years ago.
Right.
Everybody says yes.
Right. So
obviously it's not a static, factual thing.
Right.
And we participate in that ongoing, flexible process with what we think and what we say.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's really coming up right now. Like, it's like Archie Bunker couldn't be a television show right now, right?
No.
It's like, I don't know. When you look in that way about how we're not the same as we were 20 years ago, and it's not a fluid state. It's also like there's a lot of mistakes that I don't know. I just heard about Louis C.K. the other day, and that the idea that it's like, I can't see a crime that he's committed. You could say a crime of creepiness, but like, you're in your own domicile at 3 a.m. and somebody comes by and you're jerking off or whatever the thing, like, that's all weird. However, it's not illegal and it's not like hurtful to somebody. Everybody's like a willing participant to some degree. And in that ruins a guy. And that is like a thing that it's like he's just like, he acquiesces. He doesn't even argue whatever. And there's a lot of that's going on, which I find fascinating too, that it's like he's saying, I was an asshole. I'm sorry about that. Like about this non-illegal thing. But there's not a forgiveness to that's a different man today. You know what I mean? It's like you can't, at a certain point, you can't be like, remember when you were really a fucking dick when you were learning how to drive? Like, we don't beat people up. We give people an ability to learn and grow throughout that, right? It's like, I don't judge you on the snapshot of your life. And so that kind of a thing, I think, is like, how do you implant that in somebody? Because that's what it takes for this kind of thinking to happen, because you need to unstick people.
Very well said. And we help people unstick themselves one thought at a time. And a lot of it is presupposed. So we do an exercise, sometimes, we have people write down these 2 statements. First statement, they have a lot of confidence. Second statement, they have developed a lot of confidence.
That's cool.
And then we ask, exactly, what's the difference for you in your experience of those 2 statements? And people invariably say, for the first statement, they have a lot of confidence. That's them. It's over there. That's just the way they are. Would have been nice. So it creates and then
you're disconnected.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then the second statement is the things that you or I, that we've gotten better at and gotten more confident about. It's happened over time through repetition and practice and focus and excitement. Right. So we've developed that confidence about that skill set. So that implies that if they developed confidence, then confidence is something to be cultivated, and I can do it too if I follow that same general methodology. It's more accurate, and it's here it is. Here's a key word: process. Identity is a process, as opposed to a static, factual, stuck thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, man. That, when you say, like, you go sentence by sentence with them, like, are you prompting sentence? Are you just going through examples like you've given me, and you're like, let's just look at language and how you use it to kind of disrupt them? Man, it really, I was talking the other day, why do you think that people use small talk?
Give me an example of small talk, please.
Nice day today, huh?
Oh, right. Okay, gotcha.
So what are you up to today?
Lack of options. So, and I've thought about this, and I get a tremendously different reaction when, let's say, I go into Erewhon and I walk up to pay for whatever it is that I'm buying, and I ask the person, how's your shift going?
For my friends in the Midwest that are listening, Erewhon is a place you can go get a 6-ounce jar of almond butter for $42.
$42. I've got a pumpkin pie story that I need to, quote unquote, get off my chest, and I'd like to cleanse my soul here momentarily.
Perfect.
When I go when I go into Erewhon or anywhere, and there's the cashier, and I ask them, so how's your shift going today? I just ask them a pinpoint specific question, and it snaps them out of some sort of hypnosis. It really does, because how many times are they inundated with boring questions? Hi, how are you? That's boring. I've heard that my whole life.
Well, it's a way to stay alone. It's a way to stay separate. I have small talk where I don't have any stakes in what you say. It doesn't matter to me one way or another. And we're just going to go through this thing because we're passing time, because I can't wait to go and be alone. I think it's a fear-based reaction to getting to know people around you. And I don't know. I'm
that
not
can
sure.
get very deep.
It's
if
interesting,
if it's
man.
fear-based and separation-based,
But
then
like
it's
that's
an
the same
existential
thing with
question.
the language you're talking about,
Yes.
because everybody uses only so many phrases really in their mind. It's not like they have a glossary of terms that's really, really expanded. It's pretty minimal what most people use. And it's the same words every day. It's probably a few hundred or 1,000 or something every day, and that's the same words all the time. And so you get into patterns like what you're talking about. I've developed it, or or they have it. Like it's
being
like
tuned out, zoned out.
so different, man. It really disrupts that small talk.
Yes.
And that's what gets new neurons.
Totally. I can speak for myself. All of my public schooling and my college experience, I didn't have one class, Tate, on how to have a connected, focused, warm conversation with someone. Okay? Nothing.
We used whiskey in Michigan to do that. That'd be the way you'd get to know a fella. You'd either fight him, or you would get hammered drunk with him, or you would go break into a house or something like that. You'd do some kind of crime. But there's only a few ways to bond with guys. And we all knew that in Michigan.
There's my father has a farm out in the country, and one of our only neighbor is a super interesting guy, Jerry Nixon, and he's got it's soldered into a metal plate right above his grill with a neon light behind it, and it says, quote, because no good story was ever told over a glass of water. Here's my pumpkin pie story.
Yeah.
And it involves Mike Bledsoe. So I go to Erewhon. I'm going down, this Thanksgiving. I'm supposed to go down and spend Thanksgiving with Mike and Ashley. And he has his teeth taken out, or his wisdom teeth taken out on Tuesday, and this is obviously on Thursday. I go to Erewhon and I buy their 4-pound deep dish organic, super organic, it's probably biodynamic pumpkin pie. 4 pounds, man. 4 pounds. It was literally that thick.
$82.
$50. $50 for a pumpkin pie. I come back home, I put the thing on the counter, I pick up Mike, I'm like, pick up the phone, said, I'll be there at 3:00, and he writes back, he's like, man, I'm hurting. And we went back and forth, and he was like, he said, come on down, I'm not going to be much of a conversation. I was like, buddy, we'll rain check it. Anyway, Now it's me, an empty house, a 16-year-old Chihuahua that I do not like. And I like dogs. This dog is a schizo. And a 4-pound pie. And I ate the whole thing, Tate.
No way.
I ate the whole thing in a matter of 40 hours.
Jesus.
And I'm a little guy. 4 pounds of pie. I did it in 8 sections. I took a picture of each slice of the pie.
Was this premeditated, or did you just
100%? Once I recognized that there was a scenario in front of me, that I knew I had to man up, and I did, and I very much enjoyed it.
Was it the taste that kept you coming, or was it the sugar? Do you think? Like what?
I powered through.
Just you had a job to do.
Yes, yes. I'm a big proponent of following through.
Hard work.
Yes, and I knew that I would if I
look tough, and you weren't here to do the easy thing.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
not at all.
Yeah.
I leaned in.
Okay.
I leaned in and I succeeded.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And so Erewhon, if anyone from the Midwest comes out during holiday season,
yeah,
pumpkin pie is a real thing.
You can get it by the slice too, and you can break up the cost a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, where can people find you online?
You can find us at procabulary.org. 2 excellent ways to get introduced to Procabulary, and they're both for free, is to look up our TED Talk, okay, and Mark England, YouTube, Mark England, TED Talk. It's also on our events page at procabulary.org, or just go to procabulary.org, and we took our very best. So Procabulary is a philosophy, and it's also a methodology. The methodology, it educates people about their words, the metaphysics of language. Let me drop this in, because this is just fun, and you'll appreciate it because you're a pirate. When I say abracadabra, what do you immediately think of?
well, magic, of course.
Magic, of course.
Yeah, wands and hats.
Wands and hats and rabbits coming out of
Aramaic.
hats.
I also think Aramaic.
Oh, man. Excellent. Now, why do you think Aramaic?
Because I listened to your TED Talk.
Ah, yes. So, for all the listeners, abracadabra is Aramaic, and it translates to with my word I create, or with my word I influence. Okay? And the metaphysicians of the day, the spiritual teachers, what we would call gurus now, or personal development teachers.
Tony Robbins.
Yes, them. Back in the day, they got it. And what I mean by them getting it is that they understood that if someone wins the language and the story game, then they win the whole thing. Because our language it's where the rubber meets the road for manicuring, curating our internal states, these flow states or these stress responses. And they would triangulate abracadabra and wear it around their neck to remind them of the power and the mechanism of the spoken word, and one to dispel, which means to cast out. I find that fascinating. Negativity, negative energy. The definition of a spell, this is Webster's definition, not mine. The definition of a spell is a word or a combination of words of great influence. That's it. I'll do that in seminars all the time. Hey, everybody. You ever talk to your
comedian does that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. They're spelling by definition. And that's what we handle. That's our lane. We cover how our language influences our imagination, our feelings and emotions, how we move our body, and where and how we breathe. And over time, those are key pillars of our experience of ourself. And they over time build our identity. And
so is all this
interesting
brand
thing
new,
to
or does
know
it
about.
come? Where do you guys draw from?
Good question. We draw from numerous different sources. As far as myself is concerned, some of my major influences have been emotional freedom technique, which is a way of taking the negative charge out of a story. Very interesting. So you navigate a story while you're tapping on meridian lines.
Right.
And it interrupts them. It's very cool stuff.
Yeah.
Neurolinguistic programming. They've started many a good conversation, turned a lot of people on to the power of words. Byron Katie, one of my all-time favorites. She's the great-grandmother of reversing a projection.
Really?
You never let me think for myself. Oh, right. Okay. Let's turn that
Isn't
one
all
around.
of it, though, doesn't it just all come down to, like, take responsibility
That's
for everything?
Yes.
You're 100% responsible?
I am 100% responsible for the story that I create and how it
For
influences
all
me.
of it. For relations, for everything. Like, if you're not willing to take 100%, like, for your pumpkin pie. For all of it, man. You know what I mean?
I
It's
thought
like,
about blaming Mike Bledsoe for a hot second.
It's like that.
It just didn't work, though.
That becomes the thing, though, is like to own your words, to be responsible
Yes.
to your words.
And before people, this is most people, before someone gets to a place where they're excited to do that, they need to understand, one, why it's valuable, and two, how they're participating, that they are participating and how they're participating, and what's on the table for them if they use their language a little bit different, if they make some adjustments in their story, how great the benefits are for going from blaming someone for something that happened 15 years ago. Okay, and absolutely, Tait. So we're very important to state, we are not about right and wrong or good and bad. We're about input and output, cause and effect, accuracy versus inaccuracy. And absolutely, tragedies happen. Okay, terrible things happen to people. And also, after that, how long do I need to maintain that story of
their
woe?
fault too.
That
It's
can
like,
be,
I think kids
argued,
are blameless, but I think after a certain age, you're all in, and you got to be. And the thing is because it doesn't have function and performance. Anything else doesn't. Like, nothing else works except being 100% responsible. Like, that's it. Because if I've got to wait for you to be cool, for me to be cool, I'm fucked maybe. You know what I mean? If I got to wait
yes.
for you to be well or for you to fix your shit for me to have happiness or wholeness,
Or
I am fucked. And so that means that there are victims in the world. And there's not. There's no victims that are progressing anywhere. Victims fall off and die. Those are the ones they're the ones that are weak in the
You're
herd that
gonna
the
love
lions
this.
pick off.
Get a load of this. So only for the past 2 years have the subset of the English language that people use to script these victim stories. Before it's called conflict language now. Okay, before it was called conflict language, and we shot an entire course with conflict language being called victim mentality language. And we looked at it and we said, you know what? While yes, it is accurate, we need to tone that down because a lot of people will get turned off from that.
Because people are pussies.
Can't worry about that. That happens.
Can't worry about that.
You're going to like this. The definition of the victim mentality, do you know what that is? The definition of the victim mentality, verbatim. The victim mentality is an acquired personality trait where a person tends to regard himself or herself as the victim of the negative actions of others, even in the absence of clear evidence. The victim mentality is dependent on a habitual thought process and attributions. It depends, as in it has to have a habitual, which implies two very interesting points: time and addiction. You've met a lot of people. How many people have you met that are addicted to their victim mentality? Yes, it's hurting them, and they know it.
Define addict.
They want to keep it.
You know what I mean?
It's bad news, and they want to keep it.
Gets thrown around a lot, and I don't think a lot of people have understanding of it.
How about something they can't stop?
That's yeah, sure.
Yeah. I know people that, regardless of how much chaos and drama their stories are creating, these victim stories, these blame stories are creating, they're going down with the ship. Okay,
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about, that level of addiction.
But that's what I mean is that it's keeping your ego safe. It's not keeping yourself safe.
Yes.
And that's the thing is it's a choice. And so it's not you're not an addict of that. You're a pussy. It's fucking different, man. It's like I'm an alcoholic.
I knew I was going to enjoy coming on here.
I'm an alcoholic. I don't fucking drink. But I don't drink because I get bad results when I drink. And so and that's a different thing than I want to think myself into where I'll never succeed, because victims don't know that there's no success there. Like I said, if it's got function and performance, I'm into it, man. But there's no love there, man. There's nothing. It's emptiness. And so all you have is blame.
Which I
so
agree,
you got to do that long enough so you can find out, oh, there's no payoff here. Not ever. And if I just own it all, even though it doesn't feel good, and if I got to just wear it in public, actually in the long run it feels better. And so then you learn two things. You learn also that you don't get to have immediate gratification. Like you do the harder thing, but the gratification is better and longer. It just comes later.
Was that something that you've always adhered to, or is it something that you learned?
For a long time.
When did you pick that up? When did you develop that perspective?
20 years ago, something like that. A long time ago.
And a lot of things changed because of that, right?
For sure.
Everything.
For sure. That's what I'm saying. It's 100. Just owning shit 100%. It changes everything. Because otherwise, everybody's a scapegoat. It's like you're a little bitch in court, and you're trying to sue everybody to have a life. That's what being a victim is like. It's like which is crazy. That's crazy. That's a crazy, cancerous way to view life, And it doesn't make you happy. Even if it made you happy, I'd be like, awesome. Well, good. At least you get to. But there's zero payoff to it. It's just horrible, and it's just the person that does that is just dumb enough to think, well, it's like free money. They don't understand how much that free money costs them.
Problems. That's true too. A lot of it, in our opinion, Tait, a lot of it comes down to education. How lack of education about what our language does to us and what will happen if we buy into conflict stories like she made me think we needed to get married.
I think you can reverse engineer it even back before. It's like an operating system for the body. Like, that's like what you're talking. It's like, you know, like, have that in place. Like, train kids in that way. Like, have that in place before the stories get in, all that. But I don't know. I feel like we're too far gone, bro. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that everyone's going to have to fuck up and fall down and skin their knees a whole lot because people are too dumb and they fucking go and have kids at 16 years old. It's like, or they get to be a certain point. They're like, I'm confused and I'm frustrated with my life. So which way do I know what will give it meaning? If I have a kid, like, you don't even know how to run your own shit and you're going to have a fucking kid, like, and that's crazy. And I can't think of what a daunting responsibility that is, but it takes away all the other conversations. Because now everything is in crisis mode, and it needs to be just for this thing. And it's like, so I think that there's a lot of breaking of people that has to happen then before they get to a course like yours, probably.
And you know what? You're looking at one of them.
Yeah.
I shattered into a million pieces.
I heard about that book.
Yeah. and it was, fortunately, I had the time, and luck is a strong word.
That's a funny word.
It's a funny word, yeah.
I know the intention. It's like when I say God. It's like, I don't mean God in the way you think I mean God, but I mean God in the way that I don't understand God, the mystery, and
exactly.
Like, it's kind of the bigger thing that we all kind of understand what I'm talking about when I say, like, that's what I feel like about luck and fortune and things like that.
Synchronicity,
like, man.
Stuff that you just scratch your head and you're like, there's more to that than I understand, and I'm never going to understand that.
Yeah, that's a loaded word.
And I lived it. I lived it in Thailand. Which is one of the main reasons that I'm sitting here.
How long were you out there?
I was out there for a decade.
Wow, man. Yeah. You speak Thai and all that?
พูดไทยได้น้อย พูดภาษาไทยอยากมักเลยนะครับสนุกมักด้วยนะ
How often do you go back?
My business partner, shout out to you, Adam Chin. What a stud. He's out there right now. He's half Thai, half Thai Chinese, half American, born and raised in North Carolina. His wife is full Thai, born in Bangkok, raised in Maryland. They're out there right now. They've lived out there they go out there more than I do. I was out there last year for about 4 months.
That's awesome.
It's such a beautiful country.
You stay for 4 months at a stretch, or 4 months total for the year?
Last time I was out there, I stayed for 4 months as a stretch.
Yeah.
Very easy place to travel. A lot of people ask me, well, what's it like over there? Or what do I do?
Stunning, huh?
It's incredible. If someone wants, do you like Thai food, Tate?
I love it, man.
Okay, cool. I got a restaurant for us to go to. We'll do that while I'm in town.
Where is it?
It's over in Hollywood. I got to call my girl Karis and get the name of it. We went to it once after Thai boxing practice, and there are 2 restaurants that I have had the pleasure of eating at that were 5-star world-class Thai food, super high-level Thai food outside of Thailand.
Huh.
One of them is called Sabai in Richmond, Virginia on Broad Street, and the other one is in Hollywood. And
is it right in Hollywood, or is it like in Silver Lake, Los Feliz? You don't know. You're not really sure. Yeah, that area.
Yeah, I need to.
There's a place, Wat Dong, but there's Wat Dong is my favorite joint over there, I think. But there's a bunch of good places. I always just get green and red curries, and then sometimes pad Thai, but coconut soup I like a lot too.
You ever get the tom kha?
But I can do that forever. Yeah, tom kha sometimes.
That's how I personally gauge the quality of a Thai food restaurant.
And then pad Prit King I get sometimes too with the green beans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You ever get pad see ew?
No.
Thick noodles?
No. I try not to be gluten.
Yeah, that's right.
So I get acid reflux if I eat gluten. Sounds gay. I'm sorry, guys, but it's true. Fuck. There's chinks in the armor.
Here's something I want to talk about. Let's talk about the Dog Brothers.
Yeah.
Bob Asbury. I lived with with a tape guy, a VHS tape guy back in college.
yeah.
1998, that dude had all the tapes anyone could ever want, and he had a bunch of the Dog Brothers tapes, and we would sit around and drink beer and watch those dudes
Some crazy ones, huh?
shit, hit each other with nunchucks and whips,
Bats,
and
chains, all that.
crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And then I read on your bio that you
Long
were OG.
staffs to sticks, all that shit.
Yeah, triple section staffs, and I was like, oh my god. How did you get hooked up with them?
That's cool. Arlen Sanford is my original instructor, and he's also fluent in Thai. And
Nice.
He's my first Thai boxing instructor, and we fought sticks together. And he loved to stick fight, and so he would train guys, not because he wanted to train anybody, but he wanted people to fight. And so there's a handful of us in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and he would train us. And he was one of the founding members of the Dog Brothers. He and Eric and Mark. And so anyway, they had a long go at it, and Mark and I think Mark kind of took it a whole nother thing. Now I'm not even sure where they compete anymore. I wish I did. I got to find out so when I talk about him, I can tell people. But he used to just be in the beach, We were down in Hermosa, and we'd just fight in the park.
What years was this?
I don't know, probably 98, 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, something like that. Like those were years that I would stick fight. And then I got into grappling so heavy, that I just stopped stick fighting because you get wrapped in the knuckles and then you can't close your hand around a gi or a fist or anything. And so I was competing a bunch as a grappler a bunch of times, all year long. And so I never really went back to doing stick fights except a couple times. There was times though when we did it, we used to run this nightclub in Santa Fe, and there's this huge dance floor. There's, I don't know, maybe 2,000 square foot dance floor or something huge.
Okay.
Big, huge disco ball, and a couple of bouncers had to stay while all the bartenders would count the money and go. And so me and my guys, we would stick fight under the disco ball in the nightclub almost every night. We fought all the fucking time. And that was always that like in New Mexico, I mean, there's just that's
what you do?
Yeah, dudes just scrap. And there's not, it's like Hawaii, I think, in that way. It's like there's not a lot more to do, and so it's like you're not mad at anybody or anything, but you're gonna, and then after we got directed, we had actual people that would show us like
moves.
Here's an art form that you can learn how to get better at, and all that. And so yeah, that was the stick fighting for me. It was really my first onset into organized fights of any kind, and so that was where I began, was with weapons. Yeah. And Arlen's also a badass cook. He fell in love with cooking, with Thai food, as much as he fell in love with Thai boxing. And so a couple times a year he'll be like, "Hey, why don't you come over for dinner?" And it's amazing all the time.
What's his best dish?
It's a little hot. He usually he makes curries, but he makes like dumpling, like some kind of egg. I'm going to say the wrong thing. I would say egg roll, but it's not that culturally correct at all. But like it's like little wraps, but like spicy, but with different flavors of like not so hot that it knocks you where it's only heat and discomfort.
Yep.
But it's like there's flavors to the different, and
that's how it's done well.
Yeah, man. So anyway, but I love all that. I love all that. I've never been to Thailand though.
You would love it if someone likes mountains, stunning mountains, beaches, stunning beaches, exotic. Bangkok, what a conversation that is.
Yeah,
it's
just in the name choice.
Just in the name choice, Bangkok, man. I was there for 5 years. I lived in Bangkok for 5 years, and then 5 years on Koh Samui, which is an island in the Gulf of Thailand, and it changed me, Tait. I bet. It profoundly changed me. I'd only had my passport for a couple of years before I moved over there, and it was for the Thai boxing. The plan was to go over there for a year and sharpen up those skills and come back and go pro. All the guys that I was training with were, much better athletes than I was, and they were, they'd gone pro fighter.
What was the school that you're training at?
Fairtex. And
in Virginia.
In Virginia, American Karate Center.
Huh.
Yeah, it was old school, and Gary Miles, he would put on the U.S. Valley Tudo, and we would go up and fight in Dan Margoliata's. Back when Dan had his school, and he had the Bama fights, and we would go up there and a couple of our guys fought. One of our guys fought Nick Sierra, the other fought Matt, way back in the day.
Lloyd Irvin had a bunch of schools up and down there. A lot of his students, all up and down the East Coast.
Lloyd and Gary, the guy from American Karate Center, were friends. I remember Lloyd coming in for Saturday practice when he was a blue belt and wiping the floor with everybody.
Huge, strong guy too. Real athletic.
Extremely athletic.
Smart.
Exceptionally technical.
Then he got
as well.
weird. He got Weinstein before Weinstein was cool. He got really weird. The horror stories about all that. But fucking talented guys, man, and hardworking guys. All his guys were really great, super kind. Yeah, man, I like that martial arts world. It's a small, tight, and it's like there's a certain. It's got its own colloquialism in a way, which is weird because it's everybody from everywhere. But I don't know. I always really loved jiu-jitsu for that. Isn't it like? My mom asked what it was like once, and I was like, it's like Ruben and I know a language, and we're talking to each other in a way that nobody else knows, and it's as much of a word and strategy and placement game as it is tactile, and I said it's like that, and she said. Okay. And she can kind of see that, you know what I mean? She can kind of feel what that might be like a little bit. But it is. It's like you've got you get to have a conversation with somebody that only you guys are really enjoying. It's a trip. Jiu-jitsu is cool that way. And you know who people are. If you roll with a guy just a few times, you know him real well.
That's true too.
Yeah. I mean, you know if he's a dickhead, you know if he's a little aggressive, you know if he's sure of himself. You can tell a lot of things, man. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Are you still rolling?
Yeah, we're rolling.
Oh, as far as jiu-jitsu is concerned?
I just train. I do drills. But I don't roll hard. I just I'd torn my shoulder a couple times when I did, and my thing is I was like, I'm just not going to roll hard for a while, and I don't know till when that is, but because it's hard for me not to roll competitive, and I'm not as good as guys that have come up that are competitive guys, of course, and so, but it's like, but then there's that fucking, and it's an ego problem for me for sure. Like that's competitive there, and I can't afford to be competitive because then if I hurt myself, then for my real job I can't work, and so it becomes a thing of like it was a different kind of mentality training when it was training for something you were doing for a living, like chasing something, versus as a hobbyist. I never have trained in my life as a hobbyist, but that's what I am now. That's you know what I mean. Like I'm, and. I don't know. It's just different. It's like it's cool because it's like then learning other things and going into other realms. But yeah, I love jiu-jitsu, man. I just it's so valuable, even just to move around a little bit, just whatever. But if you can, I feel like if you can exact whatever discipline it is, and you do it multiple times a week, and you're true to that thing, that shit grows so many benefits into different parts of your life.
Big time.
It really sets the groundwork, like the map for the whole cosmos of your existence, of where things are going to go. Yeah. Yeah, man. Well, I got to wind this up, dude.
Let's call it a good night.
Yeah. Let people know again where they can find you.
Procabulary.org.
Can they find you on Instagram? Is there another thing? Because most people, what I find, and why I say that is because most people are on Instagram for sure, but they'll go to a thing there that will remind them later, and so they'll hit that. So maybe they won't remember Procabulary.org, but they get, and if you can always update them there and direct them where to go. It's easiest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. On Instagram, we're Procabulary. I'm Mark England 2020, and Procabulary.org. You'll get a pop-up. We took the best goal-setting technology that we have and put it in a 10-minute video. It's for free.
Wicked. And
someone employs that methodology, your a new path will open up to you. Your possibilities will turn into probabilities right in front of your face simply
gonna
by
check
the
it
way
out,
you
man.
use your words. It's badass.
I'm going to look it up later tonight.
First thing that pops up on the screen, man. You'll love it.
Cool. I'll check it out, and I'll keep all you guys updated and let you know how it's going for me.
Tate, I'm very happy to send you a complimentary subscription to Core Language Upgraders, which
Right on.
Mike Bledsoe swears by it. His whole crew went through it.
Cool,
and
man.
Yeah,
Cool.
You're one of those guys.
I love that, man.
Happy to.
It's kind of like it's, you know, your body, your mind, like how you carry. It's all your business, and so it's like
Exactly.
it's just like phones. Or there's constant upgrades, and this seems like
Exactly.
a real positive upgrade, man. So
Our words, you as a professional actor and a podcaster, obviously words equal power. What we say matters. What we say to ourselves matters. What we say to other people in our life matters.
and with that, it takes consideration.
Yes,
right?
it does.
It's
Consideration,
like that pause and
contemplate.
reflection.
Yes, that's a
so
word. Yes.
vital, man.
It's a word I use a lot. Consider and contemplate. Contemplate the outcomes, potential outcomes of what I think and what I say and what I do. And if I like where that looks like it's going to go in my mind, then go in that direction, as opposed to deferring my life to the
Right.
external. It's a
Right.
very dangerous path.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, when you're self-directive, you're almost pulling your future into the present,
Yes.
and it's powerful, and there's paradoxes within that you've got to settle in yourself. But like, if you can start to edge your mind around those concepts, there's a lot of power in there, man. And I'm really interested in that conversation. So I look forward to utilizing your stuff, all your research, and thanks.
My pleasure. Can we talk about one more thing?
Sure, of course.
Grippers.
Oh yeah, absolutely, dude. So yeah, Mark comes in with these bad-
Yep.
Go ahead, please, man. He comes in and he's like, "I've got to lay this gripper on you," and I don't even really know what that means. You know, it's.
Oh, you didn't know what that was talking about when I sent you the text?
I had no idea what that was. I was like, well, I don't know what I'm about to get here. Like, because I've looked at, I'm on Tomo. I don't know if you know Touch-A-Mod or not, but like that's an app on my phone that sometimes I'll buy throwing knives at 3 a.m. when I'm lonely.
That's good. You're the best.
And so I was like a gripper. And so sometimes I see adult toys and I was like, maybe that's some new shit or something that Anyway, but that's not what it is. It's this old school hand strengthener before they became all pussified and made of plastic
cheap
and rubber and stuff. And these are like, it's like the most substantial gripper.
It's the most beast
it's
gripper
really
ever.
awesome, man. And so it's and it's like ergonomic in its simplicity.
Captains
I really
of
dig
Crush,
it.
Iron Minds. I've been using these grippers for
Captains
a long
of Crush
time.
and Iron Minds.
Yep.
Okay.
And they come out with a new model, and of course I buy the damn thing. It shows up. I take one look at it. I'm like, there's no that one. It's too big for my hand. And then I get it out of the package, and I can't close it. Well, I mean I can, but it's not. It's just too big. And I think to myself, and I met Tait once, and here's why Tait has the gripper that's in his hand right now. He, Mike Bledsoe, and I, we have ice cream at Salt and Straw over off Abbott Kenny about 9 months
good.
ago. We
my first time.
shake hands, and I'm like, oh my God, your grip strength. It got my attention, right?
Crazy.
And that's all it took.
And listen, you guys, don't think that I'm one of those assholes
No,
that's
he's
out
not.
squeezing hands.
No, he's gentle. He's a gentle giant. Very nice dude. And
There's a difference.
He gripped my. We shook hands, and I was like, oh my God. And that gripper showed up at my house like 4 or 5 months ago, and I said, okay, literally out of my mouth, words equal power. They create shit. I said, these aren't my grippers. Whose are they? And then out of my mouth, before I could think about it, they're Tait Fletcher's. And so I said, hey, Mike,
Well,
I got some.
appreciate it, man.
I got a pair of grippers for Tait. I mean, I know we only met once. You think that's going to be okay? And he's like, yeah, he'll give it to him. So I know what I'm talking about. I send Tait a message a little earlier. Hey, man, I got a pair of grippers for you. And he didn't know what I was saying.
I was hoping it was something dirty, but this is good too, and this will help in the same pursuit because my hands will be stronger,
Dude,
Yeah, and more sensitive, probably.
beast mode.
Right on, dude. And where can they find these so they can see them?
Iron Minds, Captains of Crush.
.com.
Yeah, there's only 4 or 5 people on the planet that can close the 4s. So there's gradients of
Dude, I gotta go
difficulty.
check these on too. That's
Wait till you
great.
see the other shit on there,
Cool.
like the Titan's Telegraph Key, and they've got absolute like you said, they're psychos in the best way.
Yeah.
For grip strength training.
Yeah.
They're
yeah,
awesome.
I saw it right when I looked at the grips. I was like, "Oh, these are psychopaths make these."
Yes.
Because just the attention to it, like you can tell.
World-class grippers.
Robert Oberst will know who these guys are. I bet he's got all their shit. He's one of those crazy strongman dudes.
Yes.
Like 6'9", 700
Yes.
pounds.
Oh, God.
He's not 700. He was 4 for a while.
Just say 4.
I think he's cutting down. He's under 4 now. He's making a run for world's strongest man. He just did a bunch of preliminary ones.
I guarantee you he'll know what those are.
He will for sure. He's all that stuff, man. It's crazy. The human body's crazy. That Robert can be that strong and Usain Bolt can be that fast and like
right.
Some people like just all the shit that we are. That there's a Shaquille O'Neal and there's a fucking dwarfs like, and we're all the same shit. Like Jesus. Those strongman competitions make me think I'm a different species of person. Or if you go hang around with Samoans, holy fuck. I was in Hawaii and I was in a huge convention center, and all of a sudden the room felt smaller, and it was fights, and it was a backstage thing, and all of a sudden the room felt horribly small. It felt like a football team filled in behind me, and I looked, and it was 2 Samoan guys, just big smiles. Hey, what's up, bro?
It made you look small.
Oh man, huge people, man, huge.
I was in Australia. This is back in 2010, and I was in the airport, and there were a couple of Polynesian guys. I hope I said that correct. Polynesian, yes, yes. Thank you. And they were the bone structure. I know Joe Rogan talks about their bone structure, the shoulders, the neck, the head, the hands. Knees. I looked at those guys, and I thought the exact same thing to myself. I'm like, one of those dudes would snap me up.
Yeah. Even little ones, like my friends,
and these guys weren't the big ones.
No,
they were moderate size. They're just different, built.
Yeah, Melosi and Matt Leonard, man, they're just denser people, and they're like small on that end of things, like 250, 270, like pro ball player, like that kind of super athlete, but big Samoans that are like 350, 400. Like my friend Sonny, he said he was the little one, and he was 250 pounds and professional boxer, and he was the little brother. Crazy.
That's scary.
Yeah. Anyway, much
Tait,
love.
Yes,
I just got back from Maui. Thank you all so much out there, man. What a beautiful, beautiful time. It teaches me you can't be in Hawaii and be around that spirit of aloha and not feel more centered with the earth and a responsibility to take care of that earth. Like,
how happy of a place is it?
We don't have that here in the mainland. Like in little parts it might pop up, but it's like that's like an ethos where that's the starting point, because they're so it matters, man. The earth is them. You're not disconnected the way we are in the mainland. It's fucking beautiful, man.
I haven't been yet.
Oh God.
Yeah. Everybody says the same thing.
I'd like to say go,
stunning,
but at the same time, I want to say don't go and fuck it up, because we're gonna fuck it up, man. We don't have a good track record as humans.
That's accurate.
But who knows what's next? You know, the next consciousness might be just fucking crazy. What I think about this, what I think about all the presidencies and all that, I think, we start off, we got a head of the CIA. And then we go to a guy that gets a blowjob, and then we got another real right-wing Republican dude, and then we go to Obama. We really swing, and it's like this volleying, and then we go to Trump. Next in line is like the Dalai Lama. I mean, really, it's going to be somebody awesome.
I'm ready for that.
I'm like, it's all a short time, except for nuclear oblivion and all that. But anyway, you got to get settled with that on your own. I've been scared about the Russians coming since I was a little kid. I can't be scared anymore.
That's true.
All those silos, I think, are rusted up. Anyway, thank you for being here, dude.
Tait, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure, man.
And I look forward to doing it again. I can't wait to do it again after I have more exposure to your system, and then we'll have some things to talk about that you can probably help me with and coach me through.
Happily.
That's dope, man. Thank you, man.
Cheers.
Cheers.
There's that fist.